Hi guys, it's Steve Rexford here from Jamestown, New York again. As you know, I pastor His Presence Tabernacle in Jamestown, New York. Jamestown's in western New York. We're about an hour southwest of Buffalo. And we're bringing you this, is it called a vlog or a vlog? You're allowed to talk to me. What's it called again?
Vlog.
A vlog?
Vlog.
Video log. All right, well, whatever you call it. We're here to talk about faith and politics. It's not going to be all about, it's not going to be church faith teaching. It's not going to be, if you're a Christian, you probably heard the faith message. That if you believe it, you can have it, that sort of thing. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about bringing God's perspective into the politics that are in America, that are in your state, that are in your city, your region. Now, I'm a Christian, born again Christian. So I'm going to define faith for anyone out there that maybe you're Jewish or you're Muslim or you're atheist. I'm just going to tell you what my idea of faith is and what I'm talking about. In the context we're using it in this show, it's just believing what God says. It's believing God will do what He promises. It's living the way God tells us to live, walking by faith. That's what I mean by faith. And by God, I'm talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God that you'll find in the Christian Bible. Now, I've given my definition of faith. Now, politics. Politics is the activities and the things associated with running the governments, running the laws, running the rules people got to live by. In America, you got the federal government, you got the state government, you got presidents and congressmen, the House of Representatives and the senators. And for federal government, you've got all the people in the cabinets. Then you've got your state governments and your governors and your you have ambassadors. You've got mayors. You've got county executives. And these are all people that are enforcing the rules, creating the rules we live by. And that's what the Bible is. That's what faith is. God gave us rules to live by. And I want to try and bring an understanding of what's going on in the political realm into what the Bible tells us how God sees things. Now, in America, whenever you talk about politics, you have to bring the media in too. Because without the media, you don't know what is going on. You don't know what your senators are doing, what your president's doing, what your congressmen are doing, what your governors are doing. In fact, the media exists probably more for politics than anything else. And here's another fact about the media in America. The media in America doesn't report politics. Most of the media in America tries to get you to believe in their politics. They take sides. It didn't used to be that way so much, but they take sides. There's no doubt about it. Now, like I said, politics is about the rules and the regulations and the laws. God already told us how to live. But part of Him telling us how to live, He told us to obey those in authority. He told us to obey those that have the rule over us. So, since we live in America, which is a country that the people pick the political leaders to a certain extent, because political leaders, once they get elected, are allowed to place people in certain jobs. But the major top people are voted in. And it's like going out to dinner. When you go out to dinner, sometimes you order something you never had. Sometimes there's something on that menu you've never tried before. But you ask them what's in it, and you think you might want to try it, and you get your meal, you eat it, and sometimes you love it, sometimes it's just okay, and sometimes you wish you'd never heard of it. Well, how most of America votes, picks their political leaders, they do it by, they look at what's next to their name. Do they have a D next to their name or something blue? That's blue's Democrat. Do they have red or R for Republican or C for conservative? What's that third party called? Libertarian. If they're a libertarian, I'm voting for that. Well, that's crazy if you don't know anything about the person. See, that's part of what we want to do here. We want to educate you on what certain people, especially in the election seasons, what they believe, what they're running on. Not just how popular they are or how many commercials they put out there, but what their voting record is, all that sort of thing. We're going to do stuff like that. Now, this isn't always going to be, we're not always going to do that. We're going to talk about politics of the day. What's going on in the week? Now, right now we're in a cycle where coronavirus opened the economy back up. That just goes on and on and on because we're kind of in the middle of it. We're not. It's a slow process. The coronavirus has put a major hold on the health of many people. And it's also put a traumatic economic situation, not just in this country, but in the world. And you know, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about today is economics. Now, I'm not going to really talk about coronavirus economics because it's a little too early yet. You know, there's something I'm going to talk about with the coronavirus there for a minute while we're there, is every time you turn on the TV, every time you turn on the radio, even when you're on the internet, they can give, you can get a commercial that says, stay home. Don't do anything. Don't go out if you don't have to. Social distancing. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Shut everything down so that we can flatten the curve. Well, there's other countries that didn't do any of that and have had better success with the coronavirus than we have. What does that tell us? Does that tell us everything we did was wrong? Well, not necessarily. But what it does tell us is they keep saying the science. We need to listen to the science. Well, the science doesn't know. Because if the science knows, why would one country that didn't shut anything down have the coronavirus affecting them less than a country like ours that shut everything down? That's why I'm not going to go too deep into that right now, because everything they're telling you and they're saying this is fact, this is truth, they don't know. I'm a supporter of President Trump. I'm a supporter of what he's doing. He's working his butt off to try and get us through this. But even his own doctors have said things. Dr. Fauci in January said there is nothing in America to worry about the coronavirus. Now he's on there saying, in his opinion, we shouldn't be opening America back up to July or August. Well, I mean, what do you do with that? This is where faith comes into your politics. You've got to trust God. And then today, I think it's the fourth day in the month of May. And there's a lot of states that are opening some things back up in their economy. Restaurants are opening back up. There's some places movies are opening back up. Churches, barber shops, hair salons, all the stuff that was shut down, libraries. They, almost all of them are states that are politically run by conservatives, Republicans. And the left, they want to keep everything shut down longer. Even though I saw where, if you're from New York, Governor Cuomo says he's just going to start to open some things up on the 15th of May. Now, I don't mean Democrats in general. I'm talking about progressives, which are the very farthest left of the Democratic Party. And they want to keep the economy shut down. That way they get a better chance. See, progressives don't want to just help people. They want to take over for you. They want to run your life. They want to control all the money. They want to control all the business. They want to control all the health care. They want to control everything. They basically want socialism. And they've come right out and said it. That they want totally government-run health care, everything. And that's so they can have the most power of anyone that's ever been in politics in the United States. And of course, there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with that, but that's just the way it is. Now, as far as some of the politics of the day, of the last week, we've got a presidential election coming up. It's less than I think it's less than 6 months out now. And you're going to have President Trump versus, it looks like Joe Biden, unless he collapses between now and then. And that is a possibility. But now we're having, does anyone remember a couple of years ago when Donald Trump nominated Brett Kavanaugh to be the Supreme Court Justice? And the left, man, they all said in the Senate, almost all, the Senate, I think at that time was 53 to 47. And almost every Democrat at the time said, we're not going to vote for this guy. But it wasn't going to make any difference. Because if it was a 50-50 tie, he was in. Because then the vice president would break it. So they had the votes. And then all of a sudden, this story came where some woman accused him of sexual assault when he was a 17-year-old. And now the guy's 49 or something like that. 48, whatever he was. And then this movement, the Me Too movement, started where every woman needs to be believed. And you had senators, even though the woman had no evidence at all. She never told anyone about it. She couldn't remember anything. But she just said he did it all these years ago at some party somewhere. And all these senators say, we believe her, and he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be all these women senators, we believe her. We believe her. He's got to be lying. Okay, now, and they say you always need to believe women. This was their talking point. Now that Joe Biden, a woman has come forward and accused him of doing the same thing to her. Now these same women have said you always need to believe the women are saying, well, women need to be heard, but we believe Joe Biden. We believe all women as long as they're going to trash a Republican or conservative. But don't pick our presidential candidate. We can't believe that. And that's one of the main things on the news. And Joe Biden didn't even address it for over a month. And finally, he had to address it. He was just hiding. He's just hanging out in his basement. I think he's in Delaware. In fact, I know he's in Delaware. But that's some of the politics of the day. The difference between the left and the right. And they both do it a little bit, but the left is the party that says, we love you. We care about you. We want to give you everything you need unless you don't agree with us. Then we'll destroy your life. That is what... that's what happens. When Brett Kavanaugh was nominated to be Supreme Court Justice, they were destroying his life. Now, economics. I'm not going to talk about coronavirus economics. I'm just talking about economics in general. And that's not all Democrats. I want to make sure that's true. I want to make sure you all understand that. You've got a lot of moderate Democrats in this country that are very good people. They've been Democrats their whole life. They believe in the moderate Democrat, and that's fine. It's just the progressives that believe in socialism and destroying their enemies. I can't go with that. And I don't think Jesus can either. And Jesus isn't all for Republicans. The fact that puts that out more than anything was the 2016 election. Because in the 2016 election, on the Republican side, you had Marco Rubio. You had, what's the senator's name from Texas?
Cruz?
Ted Cruz. You had
Carson.
Mike Huckabee from Arkansas, and I'm not sure what state
Carson.
Dr. Carson was from. They're all born-again Christians. God didn't pick one of them to be the president. God picked Donald Trump. So there goes all our religious ideas. We thought it had to be the Bible-toting, scripture-quoting man of God God's going to pick. He picked... Donald Trump's had some issues. It's true. Donald Trump's a loose cannon. You know, that might be one of the reasons God picked him. He's not afraid of saying what's on his mind. And the other four were politicians. They're Christian politicians. They're good men, but they're politicians. So there's some things they would never say. And there's some things Donald Trump would probably be better off not saying. But God sent someone to come in and rototill the landscape. And that's what Donald Trump has done. You had your Never Trumpers on the Republican Party, and there's still some of them there. You had, because no one, the media is the Democratic Party, just as much as the Democratic Party is. And what does he do? Fake news. He argues with them, he fights with them, he calls them out. No president ever did that before. And now people know that you can't always believe the media. So economics. We're in an economic crisis. And you've got 2 points of view on how to fix things. You have the conservative point of view in economics is usually to get business going. To get business to create jobs, which creates which creates more tax money. It creates it creates more competitiveness. And then you have that's conservatives believe in that. People on the left side of the aisle, they believe more in instead of creating jobs, they want to believe in income redistribution. God doesn't even believe in income redistribution. In fact, God believes in reaping and sowing. The left talks about a guaranteed income for people now in America. Again, God believes in tithing and giving and reaping and sowing. They believe in taxing the rich to an extreme. Some of them have talked about a 70% tax for people that make a certain amount of money. I mean, do you know what that does, right? That gets people to stop. Why would they bust their butt if they had to give it all away? Why would they spend all their time creating something? Why, if the fruits of their labor, they're just going to take from them and give it to, there are people, there's kids out there that have nothing to do with what their parents have done that need help, and that's sad, and we need to find a way to help them. But if you've got people that are of working age and they can work, but they won't, why are you rewarding them so much? Do you realize that they're going to stay in bondage the rest of your life if you giving someone $1,000 a month, okay? That's what they're calling for. Guaranteed $1,000 a month, right? Well, have you lived in today's society? $1,000 a month isn't going to get you very far, is it? But you know what it's going to do? It's going to keep those people in bondage to that $1,000 a month for years. They're going to be stuck in that poverty where there's a possibility. It's just like the old saying, instead of giving someone a fish so they can eat that day, teach them to fish so they can eat the rest of their life. Teach people that there's the benefits of getting an education and working hard and managing your money. There's rewards to all that. Not just saying that they've been unjust and they don't care about you and we're going to get you this and we're going to get you that. That is the two economic systems that we have in our country. And everything ends up falling somewhere in between anyway, because somebody runs to get elected as a senator or a congressman or a president saying they want to do this. Well, just because they win their election doesn't mean they can get it done. It still takes the votes of all the other people in the political parties and other political parties to change the laws to get it done. So this is where faith comes into economics, is God has an economic system. One is to do what Jesus says. Jesus says to love God. Jesus says to love other people. In fact, the greatest commandment of all is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength. And the second command is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then God commands people to work. And not just because He doesn't ever want us to have a good time or relax a little bit, but work is good for every part of your life. It's good for your emotions. It's good for your mind. And then you're supposed to give something back to everyone else. That's God's economic system. That's the faith of economics. And this country can come back from this. Did you know that America has spent more money to preach the gospel to the rest of the world than any other country? And God will never forget that. So as we close out this segment today, learn what the people that you're supporting, learn what they're doing. Learn how they're voting. What they're really voting for, if they're congressmen, what bills they're voting for, what they're saying yes and no to. What they're trying to get passed. And what they won't support. Because that's what they're going to keep doing. And like I said, it's just like buying the meal you've never had before. Don't buy that meal you've never had before. Buy a meal that you know you can trust on when it comes to your vote and to supporting people to run this country, because that's how God wants it. And as I close today, from Jamestown, New York, and end this out, I just want to end in a little prayer here. I say, Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, I ask you to reach out through this internet to touch the heart of anyone watching. Let them know that you love them. Let them know that you're in their corner and you created them to do great and mighty things. You didn't create them to just survive. You didn't create them to be sick. You didn't create them to be broke. You created them to have a thriving, great life to touch the people in their neighborhoods, in their jobs, in their cities, and everywhere they go. So in Jesus' mighty name, until next week, everyone, be blessed.